He is an opponent to be feared and a surefire snooker star of the future.
Okay, the new frame of snooker, beginning of the frame, and obviously the first shot, the break-off shot, is the most important. What you're going to try and do here, depending on the obviously score in the match, is to try and get your opponent in trouble. There's two options really, to play an attacking break or to play a defensive break. What I mean by that is, if you're 3 or 4 frames down in a match, obviously, and your opponent is playing very, very well, you don't want to sort of try and break the balls up. What we're going to try and do is just try and keep them tied off the initial break-off so we can get in and develop the reds. So the first one is called a defensive break. We're going to play off the end red, 3 cushions, top, side, side again, hopefully landing somewhere around in this ear behind the yellow. Well, it's a little bit narrow. Obviously, I've left in my red onto the corner pocket. I'd like the white really to be somewhere in this area. So I'm trying to put my opponent under pressure as soon as possible. Now, we've opened 3 or 4 reds there because initially, if he does miss and mess up the safety shot, then I'm going to go straight in and hopefully make a good break. Okay, just going to break off here now. I'm going to play the end red of the pack. A little bit left-hand side on the white. Bring it round the 2, 3 cushions, hopefully somewhere in bulk around the yellow spot. Try not to open the pack too much, and we're going to try and put Stephen in trouble. That's not too bad. A little bit now, it's left Stephen with a attempt at a safety shot. Okay, we've seen the defensive break. What we're going to try and play now is an attacking break. You're 3 or 4 frames in a match, up in a match I should say, and what we're going to try and do is spread the balls more evenly over the table, try and open 3 or 4 more reds, so put the opponent under pressure as quickly as possible. So what we're going to try and do is play the cue ball onto the second red this time, instead of the end red of the pack. 3 cushions again, hopefully bringing the white roughly around behind the yellow spot. So it's left-hand side on the cue ball, half ball, and there you go, a pot off the break. That's obviously a fluke, but it's in good position. Really, you can take either the brown into the centre pocket or just drop the white behind the yellow ball, putting your opponent in a lot of trouble. As you can see, the reds are now evenly spread, and obviously if you get in amongst the reds, you can make a substantial break to continue the pressure on your opponent and win yet another frame.
So I've just set up a little demonstration here where I've got to swerve around the red to hit the object ball, which is a green. To do this, I have to raise the butt of the cue, a lot of bottom of the white ball and right-hand side, and swerving around red to hit the green. And for every shot in the game, you need a good basic style and stance. So the way I do it, obviously everyone has different styles. I put my right foot in first, which points in the same direction as the shot is. Then bring my left foot in slightly in front of my left leg. My left leg is bent and the right leg is straight. And for the bridge, the basic bridge is spread the 4 fingers, then raise the knuckles, then bring your thumb up towards your fingers to form a groove to which the cue goes through nice and smoothly. And the cue goes straight through the middle of my chin, and keep the whole body still, head still, and pot the red. Now for potting difficult shots like long shots, which means John put a couple of there, you just follow up the same routine by keeping the body straight and your head's completely still when playing the shot. Watching the white until it stops.
One of the most common things that I see when I go into clubs and snooker centres is the amount of people who actually grip a cue badly. And I think it's a very, very important point of view starting off. I think the main way to pick the cue is nice and firm in the first finger and the thumb, and only slightly harder on the second finger, and the last 2 should be very, very light on the cue. I know some players hold it in the back 2 fingers, but I prefer to do it in the front, and it gives you a freedom of movement with your fingers to go backwards and forwards. I've seen a lot of people with the thumb on the top and holding it at the end of the fingers. It's not really a good thing to do. You want a nice firm on the first finger and the thumb, and just gentle with the others. Another thing that the club players asked me to do is show them how to screw the ball back. The amount of people who've been playing for a long time and can't manage to do that is quite unbelievable. I think the best way to do this is a very simple shot, is to explain to them that the tip of the cue must go through the cue ball a certain length, nice and long and smooth. So you'd probably play the screw back like this. Address the white at the bottom, and you're practicing with a nice smooth cue action the shot you're going to play, and then you push the tip through the cue ball and you get the screw back, and hopefully you don't go in the pocket when you play. This particular trick shot is called the pink pearl, and the idea of this is that I can on the first red out of the pack, and the pink comes out of the middle of the 6 reds, crosses the table and goes into the centre pocket. And it should go something like this. It worked. The idea of this shot is once again to pop the pink, and we hit the cue ball with the red onto the front red. The one past the pink moves out the way, and the pink travels, hits the red over the middle hole, and should go in the middle. We'll see. Another one that worked. The idea of this trick shot is to try and put the pint glass in the centre pocket. Just make sure you've got a nice solid glass when you do this. It should go something like this.
Well, John joined us, he was the last to join the team, and I was very surprised because really my first long chat with John was in Canada for the Canadian Open, and during a meal we were having, I said to him, did he realise that he was one of the best 4 players in the world at that particular time? And he looked at me as if I had horns growing from my head. And I don't think, in fact, I know that he didn't believe it. And it was some months later when he actually won the European Open that he confessed that he now believed in himself. And he, again, is a very, very natural player, very talented player. But if he had a fault, it was perhaps his total lack of commitment and not believing in himself. I think he's got the belief in himself now. I think he's just got to show a little bit more commitment, and I think he will be up, he could very well be up at number 1.
I started playing snooker at the age of 12 or 13. My father introduced me to the game. He'd always been like an avid league player, and he said to me one night, it was raining, we'd been going to go and have a game of bowls. I used to play that as well when I was younger, and he said to me, come on, we'll go and have a game of snooker. I said, oh yeah, that'll do me, we'll go and see if we're any good at it, you know. And he taught me the basics, the stance and grip and all the rest of it, and started me off, and I got the bug immediately. I'm very pleased now. I mean, it was a little bit, when I started in the professional game, it was slow the first couple of seasons to get going, and it's gradually got better and better, and the point now where I feel as if I'm just starting to realise my potential in the game, and I'm very, very happy and got everything to look forward to for the coming seasons. The main thing of my career so far has been winning of the European Open in Deauville, which was a real test of character. Not only was, you know, did I play quite well there, I had a lot of time in between matches to wait and things, and I was really, really pleased to win that one. And it's always nice to get the first ranking tournaments out of the way. And, you know, at least I know I'm a winner now and I can get on with playing in the rest of the tournaments. But that's been the main thing above anything. Apart from that, though, the consistency is what I'm pleased with. I mean, I've been in a lot of finals and lots of semi-finals and quarters, so I'm playing consistently well all the time, which is what it's all about. It's no good really having one good tournament and then 4 bad ones. You've got to do it, you know, play well all the time. My ambition in the game is just to keep playing well and winning ranking tournaments. I mean, I could live without being world champion. I wouldn't, you know, end up pulling my hair out and all that stuff. I mean, it'd be absolutely lovely to do. But it's the main thing is to keep playing well and to win the ranking tournaments. But above anything else, my priority is not just snooker, it's just to be happy. That's all I ask for.
John Parrott is known as the Mr. Funny Man of the snooker circuit. Why is that?
I think the main thing is, coming from Liverpool, is you've got to have a sense of humour. Everybody else seems to have one there, and certainly it keeps me sane through the season, because it can be a little bit dogmatic going from one tournament to the other and hotel rooms for this and that, and I think you need a good sense of humour. And certainly with the rest of the lads in Q Masters, you have a great laugh and everyone takes the mickey and ribs you, and you know, people tend to think that you lose your sense of humour, but it's just as you seem to be more successful, but it's not the case. I mean, you just get more mickey taken, and I really enjoy the humour. That's what keeps me sane.
John has recently got married. How has that affected his life as a snooker professional?
Being married is very, very stabilising. It's great to be able to go home to your own house and know that your wife is always going to be there, and you can just relax, because you're in the public eye enough, and you really do value your privacy, you know. So when you go back home, it's great to be like that, to be able to just go home to your wife and stuff.
There's two shots in the game of snooker which I find very difficult. One of the shots is playing with a spider, as you can see now, and the other shot is playing doubles across the table and using the angles of the cushions. The first shot I'm going to play is using a spider. Obviously we can't get to it just by reaching over because it's too far across the table, and the rest, the cue would be too low, and you need to get over this red. So the spider enables you to get well above the red, aim down on the white, but you mustn't put any side on the white at all, because it'll swerve the white and you'll miss the pot. So you've got to keep very steady. Strike the white in the middle, very slow, and just roll it into the pocket. A very difficult shot. The next shot is the double, in which most of the professionals play as a pot safety, because you have no guarantee of getting it, because every cushion and table reacts differently. So this way I would use it, I would try and pot the red into the opposite middle and stay for the black. It's winning this time, but you can't guarantee potting it, so you won't see many professionals playing them in matches because it's such a risky shot. The next way to play off a cushion is obviously if you're snookered. As you can see, I'm snookered directly behind the pink, and the white is too close to the pink and full ball behind the pink to be able to swerve round. So I'm going to have to come off the cushion, plain ball, to try and hit the red. And managed to hit it. Whereas if I'd missed it, I would have let my opponent in to clear the table and perhaps win the frame. I'm going to try and double this red into this middle pocket. It's a pot safety, really. Shouldn't leave much if I miss it. One. I'm going to play double the red across the table into this pocket. One.
I first saw Stephen in the club that I own in Stirling, although I had seen him in Junior Pot Black on television before that. And at that time I was involved in the Amateur Association, Scottish Amateur Association that is, and we, through one of my companies, we sponsored the Scottish Amateur Championship, which Stephen went on to win. And shortly after that, his parents approached me to manage him. And of course, the rest of the story just goes on from there. I think he's got a number of special attributes, such things as temperament, total self-belief, the dedication and the application. He knows exactly what he wants to achieve, which is the #1 slot and the World Championship. These, I think, are the things that keep him going.
The first time I realised I could play snookers when I got my first table from a Christmas. It was a small table off my mum and dad when I was 12, going on 13. And within 2-3 weeks, I was making 50 breaks on the table. So I realised I could play the game. Then obviously I moved up to a club, played in the full-size tables. After a while, I made a century break when I was only 13. So then I decided to start entering tournaments. So I went down to Pontins for a snooker festival and entered an under-16 tournament just to see really how good I was compared with people my own age. And I managed to win the tournament, which surprised me. So from then on, from knowing that I could win tournaments, I just started playing more and more. I think my rise has been fairly unusual because I'm so young. I mean, I turned professional when I was 16. A lot of people thought I was turning professional too young, sort of lamb to the slaughter sort of thing. But I'd gained all the experience that I could. As an amateur, I'd travelled up and down Britain for many, many years, playing in all the tournaments I could. So I thought it was time for a change. My ambition is to be world champion, be world #1, and I'm not really fussy which comes first. Both at the same time would be nice. But I think world #1 sort of proves that you're consistent over the whole year, whereas world championship is, although it's the biggest tournament, it's only one tournament. Whereas if you're world #1, it proves you've been consistently the best over the whole season. No, I'm not in a hurry. I mean, I've got the chance to beat Alex Higgins' record. He was the youngest person to win the world championship. He was 22 when he won the world championship, so I've got 2 years left to beat that. The first matches I played as a professional were strange because although I won my very first match, after that I tended to lose every match. I only got 1 ranking point from my first season, but I learned a lot because you always learn by getting beat. And the situations were a lot more different. As an amateur, you go to a club and you don't know how good the table's going to be, and you can just turn up in trousers and a shirt. Whereas a professional, you're going there, you're playing in the best arenas in Britain, you're playing in the best tables, with referees, you have to wear a bow tie for every match. So it's a completely different setup. Yeah, Jimmy White's been my hero all the way through my career, is because he is an attacking player, and I think that's the way my game has always been as an attacking player. My main strength is potting balls, but through experience and through playing the top players such as Cliff Thorburn, Taylor, Davis, who have got some of the best safety games in snooker, that it is improving my safety game as well. So I've got more of an all-round game now. I think there's players that are more natural than others. I think myself, Jimmy White and Alex Higgins are three, or there's maybe a couple more that have never been coached in their lives. I mean, I learned snooker by just watching television, watching the other players and learning from them, whereas a lot of other players have been coached in their game and still do get coached. So you can be made as a player, but whatever way, if you're natural or not natural, it takes a lot of practice.
There's plenty of times, certainly when I go into the snooker centres and watch around, I see people come up with safety shots which are very, very basic, and unfortunately at our level they don't seem to be quite good enough. And in this, basically a lot of the stuff that's played is what they call a figure-of-8 safety. And the idea of this is that when I've made contact with the red, the white should come off 1 cushion, 2 cushion, this one back here in a figure like an 8. So I'll try and attempt to play what we call an attacking safety shot. Put the white in baulk and hopefully in a good position. And that would be trouble.
Completely out of position here, so I'm going to have to play a safety shot. Play this red in the cushion with a bit of right-hand side to go up to the baulk area.
Stephen Henry.
I'm going to try and put the yellow behind the blue and pink and the white somewhere behind the black. Hopefully get a snooker. Half ball in the yellow.
Well, Stephen has left me a pot on, but it's a bit risky. Probably going to wait for a better opportunity. I'm just going to knock the yellow up and down the table again, hopefully leaving it round about this area, and try and put the white behind the black.
Well, Mike, I came across Mike first in 1986 when we teamed up, Mike and Stephen, for the World Doubles. And during that tournament, they made the final. They lost to Davis and Mayo. But during that particular championship, it was very clear that Mike had a very great talent. And it surprised me to find that he'd been a pro for some 7 or 8 years, sticking somewhere between 21 and 32. And I made up my mind that really it was a question that if somebody could direct him, if somebody could get the application and the dedication into his game, he had the opportunity of going right to the top. And I think perhaps in many ways Mike gives me a great deal of satisfaction, because when I did sign him, many people said that he was never a top 10 player. He's now number 6 in the world, and I think the big thing, when a player gets to that level, then all of a sudden he starts believing that he can win tournaments. And I would liken Mike very much to Dennis Taylor, who was on the pro circuit for 13 years before he won a tournament. And I think Mike has the capabilities within himself now to win a tournament.
I've been a pro now for about 9 years, my 10th season coming up, and I was struggled a little bit. I got to probably about 26, 27 on the world ranking list, and then sort of levelled off at that time. And I had a pretty good season about 3 years ago and managed to get into the top 16, which is what I've always wanted to do. And then from then on, it sort of leaped up. So I was sort of stagnate for 3 or 4 years. You know, I was sort of going in and out in the matches and getting a few results and wasn't really creating the opportunities to win tournaments. So I was just basically winning matches to pay the bills. Thinking, which is the wrong attitude to be. You know, not thinking of big prizes. It's a question, if I win this match, I've got £3,500 or something, and I can pay that off, and I've got a few quid extra. That's probably the attitude of a lot of the new professionals that come in. They're just basically playing match by match. Whereas now, I'm wanting to go in. I've had the taste of earning £30,000-40,000 in the lump, and I'm wanting to win tournaments. In effect, the money doesn't really come into it because we don't actually see that now. It's just basically about winning now, and I want to win as much as possible. That is one of my faults over the years. I haven't worked hard enough at my game. You have to work at this game, and it's all right having all the ability, but it's the hours that need to be put in during the day that people don't see. They just, the public feel that we just turn up and play and we'll become world champion. It doesn't work that way. I mean, okay, Steve Davis has won the world championship 6 times, but the amount of work that he's put in to get that, it's like a job. You know, you're there, you know, 9 to 5, and you put a few hours in. I would possibly admit that I don't practice enough than more, you know, than I should do. I have to try and change that to be more successful. And but that is really the lesson. It doesn't matter how much ability you've got, you still have to work on your game day in, day out. And you see the rewards in the end. It helps when you're under pressure. When you're actually under pressure under TV, it's okay playing in the club, but when the pressure comes on and you feel that you've put the work in and the practice, you know that it can back you up. And if it's not there, there's always that little bit of doubt in the back of your mind that it's not going to happen. But if the work has been put in the beginning, you know that hopefully it'll come through. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be learned. I mean, the new players are coming through now. I think they possibly think they're just going to get in and things are going to happen. You know, there are exceptions. I mean, Stephen obviously is different class. He's come through 19, 20 years of age, and he's got it all. You do get the exceptions to the rule. But I mean, majority of the young lads that have come through would probably expect that they've won everything as an amateur, they can just come through and win everything as a professional. It doesn't work that way. It took me 3 or 4 years to settle in. And, you know, it was hard work. And you have to, the transition is very, very big from amateur to professional. It's a totally different game, totally different setup, and the attitude has to be totally different. And I think basically what I've done is been more professional over the last few seasons, been mentally harder on and off the table, which has helped. But at the end of the day, if you're having a bad trot, you just have to keep plugging away and hope that you turn it around and it comes good. Just going to play a couple of trick shots for you. The first one, what we're going to try and do is to send the white, the cue ball over the 15 reds, hopefully through the triangle, pop the black into the corner pocket. Okay, a little bit more difficult this time. You see we've got the black surrounded by 3 reds on the side cushion. What we're going to try and do is hit the white onto the first red. Hopefully you'll knock the 2 reds out of the way. The black will come across the table, over the triangle and reds into the corner pocket.
We're just going to start off with a few power shots now. Power shots, as you know, require very accurate cueing. You've got to be cueing really sweetly through the ball. So we'll do a few different power shots just to show you what can be achieved when you are cueing through the ball nicely. Now this first one is just imagine it comes to the end of the game. You're on the pink and the black. You receive pink and black. The black's at the other end of the table. You need to pot the pink into the corner bag and drag the white all the way up the table because you've landed dead straight. So the idea would be you'd landed dead straight. So get on the ball, just let the cue go straight through, nice and smoothly. And as you're hitting the ball, you're really powering it through, pulling back quick off the white. You get a lot of backspin on the white to pull it right up to the end of the table.
I'm going to go for the long red. It's the full length of the table, just plain ball, middle of the white.
I'm going to try and attempt to pop the red into the corner pocket, stun over off the side cushion, finish on the black.
Well, Darren I first heard about a few years ago, and it was actually the enemy that pointed me in the direction, matchroom Terry Griffiths. And Terry was telling me about a very, very good young player down in Wales. And I watched his progress through the amateur ranks, and of course in 1987 he capped a tremendous amateur career by winning the World Amateur. From there we had a situation where his father approached me, and we signed contracts in early 1988. But I think Darren, probably because he won the World Amateur Championship, in many ways it was the transition for him to professional was more difficult, inasmuch that he'd been at the very top of the tree in the amateur game. And of course, coming into the professional ranks, where most of the players are all great players, he found it pretty difficult. But he's settled in now. He's won the Pontins Invitational. He was runner-up to Hallett in the Dutch Open. And he's looking forward, as I am, to a lot of success in the future now.
As an amateur, I won the Welsh Amateur, I think it was 1987. Finished top in the pro tickets. That's where I got my ticket from. I was going in as second or third man, I think, because I was top of the pro tickets. And I went on to the World Amateur Championship. Won that to become world champion, so I was automatically getting my ticket. Then I finished in #1 in the top 100 Q satellite rankings for that year, so that capped the year off really. So I just turned pro then. It all come 87, 88, all my successes. I won about 9 Pro-Am, 10 Pro-Am tournaments, but I lost in about 9 or 10 finals as well, so I had a good year. I got about 20, 25 finals, and I won the big ones, which was the main one. The thing is to practice really hard, practice on your own, which I lost track of a little bit at the beginning of this year. I started playing everybody, but my manager then got me back to playing on my own, and now I like do half on my own, half with someone. But I think it's just you practice as many hours as you can. You play in as many tournaments as you can within reason. and you just progress from there. The thing is, if you're not in the right frame of mind, you're very hasty, you play the wrong shots. Shot selection is one of the biggest things in the game, the same as consistency and concentration. If you're not concentrating, you can forget it. But at the same time, if you're concentrating and still playing the wrong shots, you're just making life hard for yourself. If you're in the right frame of mind, you pick the right shots. If you're not, you don't. You pick the wrong shots, so things just don't go right. So I think the last few months, I've just adopted a positive attitude. I've started attacking like I used to in my earlier years, and it's been paying off. Well, if they're young players and they're just starting off, I suppose it's just to say to keep their heads down and get on with it, like practice hard and hope you get the right breaks, because you do need a bit of luck. You need really to fall in. I've been lucky. I had a good sponsor. My dad done it for the first year or two, then I had a real good sponsor for the next 2 years, and I've been very, very lucky to fall in to Q Masters. I expect there's 110 pros would give their right arm to be in the group that I'm in, so I'm very lucky that way. And for someone who's watching the video, if they are keen on snooker and they're good, is to get someone behind them that is going to look out for their best interests and not just their own. So that'd be the thing, just to practice and hope that you find someone that's really good to back you.
The most important thing, obviously, if you want to win the frame, is score more points than your opponent. The easiest way of doing this is by building a break round about the pink and black, because they make the most points. So I'm going to try and build a small break by potting reds with pinks and blacks. Roll off the cushion with the top of the white for the next red. I'm thinking about 2 shots ahead each time, with an angle in each shot to move to the next ball. I'm going to deep screw off the cushion from the black. Now I've not come far enough, so I'm going to roll off the cushion and hopefully get the pink. Straight pink in the corner, so I'm going to screw back for the next red in the same pocket. This time, following through the top and the white for the black. Now with lots of top and the white, follow through of 2 cushions for the next red. This time, small stun for the black. Now I've left myself a nice angle to get up for the yellow. I've come a little bit too far with the black, so I'm going to have to use the rest for the yellow. Just a plain ball shot for the green. Nice and straight in the green, so all I have to do is stun the white to stay on the brown, bottom of the white. Never want to leave myself straight on any colour because it makes it more difficult to get in the next colour. So another stun for the blue. And another soft screw for the pink. Haven't come quite far enough, so I'm going to have to use the rest to pot the pink and stun off 2 cushions. One ball left to win the game. Black in the corner, plain ball and a white. A bonus, we cleared a lot.
We're here today to do some break building. We've just hit a few shots off the break off. The balls have spread out nicely for us, so we're going to try now and make a break. Just starting off with the easy pots, nice and easy, a nice flow on the cue action. So I'm going to try and pot the red straight in the corner bag, just leave myself on the black for in this corner. And now I'm going to pot this black in the opposite corner, just stand up a few inches for the red into the same bag. Just going to play the red into the corner bag, off the cush for the black back into this corner. Just going to follow through on the black into the corner pocket to leave the white just about around by there for the red back into this corner pocket. I'm just going to put a little bit of bottom on this red now to pot the red into the corner, just to stun it up around for the black back into the same pocket. Same sort of shot, but a little bit higher up on the table now. Black into the corner pocket, just to stun the white up through the gap for the reds back into the corner. I'm just going to follow straight through on this red to leave the white around by there for a nice little angle on the black to play up into the middle of the table. Right, now I'm on the black that I can play a number of shots. I can stand up for this red in the corner, onto that red, for this red back into this corner. I'm just going to stun through the gap to leave the white, hopefully around about by here for the red, back into the same pocket as the black. Now again, I've undread it a little bit, so I'm going to change our plans a little bit with playing this red into the middle by there, just for the white to come down, for the blue back into the middle bag. Now with this blue shot, I'm just going to pot the blue into the middle, just stun the white down, through the gap, down for one of these two reds, knowing if I make a mess of it, I'm going to land on one of them two or the red in the middle. I'm bridging over this ball, so I've got to be a little bit careful here, not to touch the ball and not to skew if on the cue action. So I'm going to pot the red into the corner bag and just follow straight through with the white for the black straight into the other pocket. Now I'm going to pot the black into this corner pocket with a little bit of bottom on the white to stun the white up here for the red back into this corner. I'm going to pot the red into this corner pocket, middle of the white, off the cushion, with a little bit of right-hand side for the pink back into the corner pocket. I'm going to pot the pink into the corner pocket by there with a little bit of bottom, just to stun the white back for it straight back into that pocket again. Put the red in the corner pocket, follow straight through with the white for the black into the opposite pocket. Going to put the black into the corner pocket, stand up through the gap for choice of the two reds into the middle bag. I'm going to put this red now into the middle bag, just stun the white back about 2 inches for the pink back into the corner. Put the pink into the corner bag, just stun the white for the red back into the middle. I dropped my chalk. Red into the middle bag, same sort of shot, just stun in the white again to leave myself on the pink for this corner bag. Just going to pot this pink now, stun back about 8 inches for one of these reds into the corner bag. And I've had to take the rest because I've just overhit that a little bit. So I want to pot this red in the corner bag, just stun the white over the bayat for the pink back into the same bag. I want to pot the pink into the corner bag, just stun back a few inches again for the red into the corner. Pot this red in the corner, just middle of the white, so as it comes off the cush, it just slides down a little bit for the black back into the corner bag. I've gone a bit straight on this, so I've got to use a little bit more power in the shot. The idea is to hit the white with a touch of right-hand side, pot the black into the corner bag, stun the white off the cushion, up for the red in the middle, or if I've underhit it, I'm going to get a shot at the red in the corner bag. Right, now with this shot, I'm just going to pot the red into the corner bag, the middle bag, sorry. Just the white is just going to roll up and just cannon onto the blue, hopefully to leave me with a shot on the blue in the middle. Right, the blue in the middle. I'm going to pot middle of the ball on the white with right-hand side for the white to hit the bottom cushion, a little bit of right-hand side to check the white off the cush, straight back up for the red into the corner pocket. But now, as I'm playing these shots, I'm always playing a few shots ahead. Now, I'm already looking to see where I'm going to stick this red ball, or which is the best pocket for me to play it into. So I'm looking to get a good angle on the black, pot this red in the corner to land on the black. To stun over for the red back into this middle pocket. Now I'm going to pot this red in the middle pocket, just at the middle of the white, so as the white runs down, and comes down for one of the bulk colours down the other end of the table. Well, we're on the yellow perfect, but yeah, we're on the yellow perfect, so I'll play the yellow. It's just a little stun shot. Put the yellow in the corner and stun the white back a few inches. Stitch these trousers up a bit. Just going to pot the yellow into the corner pocket, drag back about 6 inches for the green, back into the other corner pocket. Think of it that just about right. So same sort of shot, just stun back about 2 or 3 inches for the brown into the opposite pocket. Pot the brown into the corner bag and just pull back with the white to land round about by here for the blue into the middle bag. I've underwritten that slightly, so we're going to have to pot the blue into middle bag, stun the white off the bottom cushion, with left hand side to check the white, to come back up for the pink into that pocket. The pink into the corner pocket, a little stun shot down onto the black in the same pocket. And the black, just a plain ball shot straight into the corner bag. Right, as we said at the beginning of the session, that we were going to try and make a break. We've just accumulated a 1-3-4 break, so it just proves that if you do make things nice and simple and your cue actions nice and smooth, it is possible to clear the table or to make sizable breaks to win the frames. My advice to anybody that's starting to play the game or that does play the game is to keep the game as simple as they possibly can.
I'm going to put the red in this pocket and screw back for a choice of the yellow or the green. It's going to be the yellow. I'm going to stun with a touch of left-hand side off this cushion to come down into the middle, round about here, and hopefully land on a red. Just a plain stun shot for the black.
10.
I'm going to force the white off the cushion in the middle of the white ball. Now, top of the white to come round for the pink. This time I'll be stunning, putting the pink in this pocket, stunning off the cushion for this red here. This time, a stun shot, potting the red, leaving the white round about this area to put the pink in this middle. Now just a slight screw back to leave myself on this red here. time I'm going to pot this red, stun off 2 cushions and come up for the blue.
Two.
This time I'm going to pot the blue, screw the white to run out this area for a choice of 2 reds in that corner pocket.
Seven.
You have to be this red into the corner and back up for the blue. This is red.
57. Stephen Hendry.
All my boys are obviously very busy. They travel all over the world. We shortly leave for New Zealand, Australia, Thailand. Stephen, at 20 years of age, has already been to Japan, the United States, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore. In fact, it's probably easier in his case, as the rest of the boys, to name countries that they haven't been to. Now, that takes a lot of energy. The travel is very tiring, long periods away from home. But it's all in the going back to the basis of they have an opportunity of setting themselves up financially for life. And I think that really is the thing that keeps them going. The camaraderie, I think, between the players, they're all young players, they all get on very, very well together. Their likes are very similar. They like similar type music, clothes, golf, they all play golf. And really, during the season, which is becoming longer and longer, it's now effectively a 10-month season, they don't get an awful lot of spare time. But when they do, they tend to spend listening to music or playing golf. But I'm fortunate that they all get on well together because that is very, very important in a team atmosphere.
We call Michael Michelle, just to wind him up a little bit, you know.
And we used to call Daz because he's always getting whitewashed. And now it's just Daz for Darren.
And John is, we call John Sickaz.
Sorry, you called
John Sickaz. Because when he got beat, he was sick as
Stephen likes to wind us all up, me especially.
It's actually John Carroll, our driver. It's nothing to do with us.
But
He starts it all.
He started it, yeah.
Stephen's like a junior John Carroll, you know. So he comes in and says, Darren, you're going to watch some more of my unbelievable potting today. And it's like, he's got the white on a string, whereas I've got it on a rope. You know, so.
Just little things like that, yeah. You're out there and you're doing the business and you're working on that. But when you come off the table, you have a drink, you know, we might have sort of beaten each other, but we'll have a drink at the bar afterwards and talk about the game and things like that. But there's a lot of players that keep themselves to themselves and in different groups and stuff, but at the end of the day, you know, you're just playing a game, you're playing a game to win, but after that, you're just like anybody else, really.
If you take the top 32 players in the world, they're all great players, but some are more successful than others, and I think that's where the psychological situation comes in, that the player has got to believe in himself, he's got to dedicate himself. And snooker players are no different from any other sportsman. They have all the problems off the table. There's gambling, there's drinking, there's women, there's all sorts of side effects that can take their mind away from snooker. But really the ones that are absolutely, totally successful, the Davises, and I think my boys, because I'm in the fortunate position to have 2, 3, 6 in the world at this point in time, and certainly my players have got there by sheer graft. Davis made it by sheer graft, and I think it's a question of, again, going back to the psychology of it, that players in the top 32 have got to believe that they've got to work, they've got to dedicate and apply themselves.
This time, bottom of the white, just to leave a slight angle in the brown. Every shot I'm playing, I'm leaving an angle on the colour to get onto the next colour. Bottom of the white to get down for the blue. This time, I'm going to have to play the middle of the white, pot the blue, off the bottom cushion to come back up for the pink into this corner. Now potting the pink into this corner. A lot of topspin to have the black into the same pocket. Now to finish off, just a plain ball black. And a bonus, we cleared the table.
I think it's very important for the young players when they start off to get the basics right, to get a good technique. I think it's of paramount importance that they actually go and get a book or a video like this one indeed to study the technique and the basics and put themselves right to start off with. I think if they don't do that, then they're going to find it very, very difficult either A, to improve, or B, to go back and put it right. So it is important that they do that in the first place.
Young players coming into the game have got to apply themselves and they've got to dedicate themselves. That means that they've got to be prepared to spend long hours on the practice table. The object really is to get total control of the cue ball. If they can do that, if they can put the cue ball exactly where they want it on the table. And the greatest exponent of that, of course, is Steve Davis. And I think any player that comes into the game that's not prepared to look at Davis, not prepared to apply himself in the way that Davis has got no chance of achieving the #1 slot. Now, if a young player can look at his career over a 3 or 5 year period, consider the amount of money that he can win in that period of time, he can effectively set himself up for the rest of his life. If you consider the season gone by, John Parrott has picked up over 300,000, Stephen Hendry has picked up over 300,000, and that is just on the table earnings. Of course, there's all sorts of things on the side, endorsements, exhibitions, etc.